ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with another episode of Eat the Donut, where we are achieving fat loss freedom with a happily ever after. Freedom of fat loss once and for all. That's the goal here. Any diet you've done, this is gonna trigger some people, I have a feeling, because I hear it all the time with clients, with sales calls, like you name it, with individuals who are just talking fat loss with myself. Any diet where you've lost 50, 70, 100 plus pounds, it worked, right? It was great. But the individual is coming back saying, I need to lose 50, 70, 100 plus pounds still because they regained it. So when that happens, when someone does a diet, hey, this keto diet worked well for me, this low carb diet worked well for me, whatever diet, insert trendy diet name here, worked well for me because I was able to lose X amount of pounds. Well, was it successful? Because you weren't able to keep it off. You keep going back and forth with it, losing and regaining the same weight over and over. But how come you're not keeping it off? So a successful diet is something where you don't only lose the weight, but you maintain it as well. You maintain the progress you have made over time. That's what a successful diet is, a successful plan to lose the weight and keep it off and live happily ever after. No stress. I shouldn't say no stress. Life has stress, but be able to manage stress, still incorporate the fun things in life, but also you are healthy. You are taking care of your health. You are confident in what you need to do to take care of your health. You have found that beautiful Goldilocks zone. Not too much, not too little. It's just right. The amount you are taking care of your health and also enjoying life as well. Enjoying the fun parts of life, the fun moments of life. So anyways, the week I'm recording this is Super Bowl week. So for all of you football fans out there, know that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles are both in the Super Bowl. Who are you rooting for? I'm rooting for neither. I think they both are terrible teams. Just kidding. They're both phenomenal teams. But I wanted the Bills to win and then the Commanders to win. They both lost because I wanted the Commanders to win it overall, just because I also don't want to see the Bills win it all. As an avid Patriots fan, you don't want to see anyone in your league win it. But I also don't want to see the Kansas City Chiefs win it, because all this talk on Patrick Mahomes being the GOAT, the greatest quarterback now, get lost too soon. I'm not saying he's not great. He is a phenomenal quarterback. He's arguably the best player in the NFL right now. But to compare him to my man crush, Tom freaking Brady, get out of here. So all week, I am going to be rocking all Tom Brady gear. Yes, I am wearing a different Tom Brady shirt or jersey every single day. Why? It's simple. Because some of you need a reminder. Some of you talking recklessly, throwing out GOAT status like it's up for debate. I can't allow that. The disrespect, get out of here. Not on my watch. You see, greatness needs to be acknowledged, the honored, the respect. 7 rings, has more playoff wins than most teams, most franchises even put together. A career that spanned over a decade, over 2 decades. And the other thing is, he never got worse. He never had this decline. He was always putting up numbers to the MVP status for 22 years, I believe correctly. Don't take my word on that, but I believe around roughly 22 years. I should know that as his number one fan. But this man dominated the NFL for over 2 decades, from his early 20s to his mid 40s, which is unheard of. So I wear a Tom Brady shirt every single day this week. Not because it looks good, even though I look really freaking good in it, but just to let everyone know, to let you know who the real GOAT is, who the real coolest human being that was ever put on this planet is. And you don't have to like it, but you just have to accept it. And the funny thing, no matter what, say Patrick Mahomes goes and wins 8 Super Bowls, just kills it for the next 10, 15 years. The reality is, Tom Brady's still the GOAT, because Mahomes could never beat Tom Brady. The AFC Championship in Arrowhead, at Kansas City, Tom Brady comes out on top. When Brady played for the Bucks and faced the Kansas City Chiefs in the championship, Tom Brady comes out on top. So I ain't looking for your damn opinions. I'm not here for that because these things aren't opinions. They're just facts. Tom Brady, GOAT, end of discussion. So anyways, I know you're not here to hear me ramble on about Tom Brady and how great he is. Even though any sort of conversation around perfectionism or being perfect, I always say is unrealistic unless your name is Tom Brady because he's pretty darn close to it. But as you see in today's title, today's episode, we are going to talk about how to stay full in a calorie deficit. This topic came up in some conversations I've been having some people on Instagram, in my Facebook group, just on how to better manage their hunger. They're always feeling hungry, always feeling starving. So I'm going to go over a laundry list of tips to help you better manage your hunger when you are in a calorie deficit. Because this happens, right? You're sticking to your plan, feeling good. And then boom, out of nowhere, you're starving, you're ravenous. You're like a bear coming out of hibernation, ready to eat anything that crosses its path. And it's just not I could eat. Like, yeah, I could eat. You know, you're with your buddies. Hey, you want pizza? Yeah, sure, I could eat. It's not like I'm starving, but yeah, I'll have a slice. I could eat. This is a full-blown, ready to raid the fridge mode. Ready to clean up those damn cabinets. Clear them out. Here we go. Here comes Daddy Kev coming to eat all the food in the damn cabinets. So what happens next? For a lot of people, they lose control. They're overindulgent. They're eating 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 calories past their targets in these sort of screw it moments. Don't worry, I've been there before. If you haven't heard my kettle corn popcorn story, but when Daddy Kev is hungry and there's a bag of kettle corn popcorn from Costco, I am devouring that entire bag. That's supposed to feed a family of 5 for probably a couple days, probably like a couple weeks, and I finish it in a day or two. So let's figure out some practical tips that will make a big difference. It will make a big difference. There's most likely something you're doing here that we need to adjust, fix a little bit, apply to your diet, apply to your fat loss plan that can help you better manage hunger more consistently so you can stick to your targets, so you can stick to your goal consistently day over day, week over week, most of the time, and continue making progress with your fat loss. Continue making sustainable progress with your fat loss because that is the key thing here. It's about being consistent and it's about making it sustainable. So talking about those diets where did the diet really work? When you cut out all the carbs, when you cut out all the junk food, when you decide not to eat sugar, when you decide to go paleo, when you decide to do whatever it may be? No, because it wasn't sustainable. That's why it didn't work. You saw a life with carbs down the line. So instead of learning how to incorporate them into your life and have them in moderation, you just avoided the problem altogether. And it worked for a little bit until it didn't. So we want to apply, tips like how to better manage your hunger so you can still enjoy life. So you can still have this consistent, sustainable progress being made and you can go live happily ever after. That's a big reason why I say happily ever after with achieving fat loss. Fat loss freedom, developing the physical and mental freedom with your fat loss and your health, and living happily ever after. The mental component of fat loss, just going about your day, just going about the rest of your life, enjoying it, not having all these mental restrictions, all these mental struggles, challenges hold you back or overwhelm you in any sort of way. So anyways, here's the first point I'm going to make on how to stay full in a calorie deficit. Hunger is normal. It is normal. I know that's not what you want to hear. I know that's probably all right, let's shut off the podcast at this point because he's just saying hunger is normal. He's just going to tell me to tough it up. No, there's definitely ways to make it a lot easier on yourself. But just understand, when you are used to getting X amount of calories a day, that's what your body's used to. It's used to that amount of fuel every single day. And then when you all of a sudden take 500 of those calories away, your body's going to signal to you like, hey, where are those extra calories you used to give me? Because our body wants to be in homeostasis. It wants to be in comfort. It doesn't want to feel the stress. Because going into a fat loss phase is providing stress to your body. So there is going to be some discomfort there because we're obviously trying to lose some body fat, but your body doesn't know that because it really just wants to keep you alive. So when it gets this sort of message that something different's happening, you're taking an extra 500, 300 calories away from it that it's used to day to day, it's going to go, hey, hey, it's kind of like knock on the door. Hey, where's those calories you used to give me? So it's like, hey, I got to send some messages letting you know we need some more fuel. And that's okay. It's not an emergency. Like a little bit of hunger is fine. You'll be okay. But where most people fall off is they actually go to an extreme with this hunger. They severely cut calories. So now they're feeling ravenous. They're feeling an absurd amount of hunger that it is hard to ignore. It is hard to have discipline and grind it out. So what we want to do is get to a point where you might recognize the hunger. It's very much manageable. And you know, like, hey, I know in an hour I'm having dinner, so this is going to be okay. Or it might be a standpoint of like, hey, as long as I have something, a little snack right now, it's going to hold me over for the next 2 hours. Where I'm not full, but again, it's manageable. So just make a note of that hunger is normal. It's okay. We don't want to be on the extreme where you're feeling ravenous and the management of it is so extreme that you can't handle it. But if you do notice it, it's just kind of like a little knock on the door, like, hey, I'm here, but everything's okay. Like, we're still alive. Because technically you can go, I think it's like 21 days without eating. Not that I recommend that. So just know, if you feel a little hunger, you got, 30 minutes, an hour, maybe a little bit more, that you're going to be okay. But when you are struggling with that ravenous hunger pretty consistently, apply these tips. Tip number 1, do you know what it's going to be? I'm sure a million other coaches and influencers have told you on what's the most satiating thing, what food is going to fill you up and fill you up the longest. If you have followed me for a while, you've definitely heard it. But if you haven't heard this, I'm really happy to introduce this to you. Protein. Protein, because we want some protein gains. Let's go. I just got spit all over the mic, but fuck it. One take show. Protein is king. When it comes to hunger management, keeping the hunger in check, protein will fill you up. It will fill you up for a longer period of time as well. It slows digestion, helping you stay full for a little bit. So when it comes to creating any sort of meal, having a snack during the day, eat some protein. I went over this in my most recent podcast, which go check it out because it's going to give you full on insight about protein. So I won't spend a whole 30 minutes here talking about it, even though I could. But the first thing I want every individual to really dial in is making sure every single meal has protein in it. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, have some Greek yogurt, some eggs. For lunch, have some chicken, have some steak. For dinner, maybe it's some ground beef, some lean meats, some good old tofu. My friend Bradley talks about having tofu every single week. Doesn't sound appealing to me, but they like it. But he's like, no, you just got to make it the right way. I'm like, is there a right way to make tofu? And not to knock anyone who likes tofu, but unless it's in my miso soup, I'm not really having any tofu. I'm not planning to have tofu in my life. But hey, who am I to say? To each their own. But yes, making sure every meal has protein in it. Ideally 20 to 40 grams, leaning more towards that 40 grams in my opinion. But anywhere from 20 to 40 grams is a great start and going to help so much with hunger management throughout the day. Ideally, you want to have at least 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight or goal body weight throughout the entire day. So if my goal is to be 200 pounds, I'm trying to get at least 140 grams of protein per day. Now you can always go more than that. I like to always even push a little bit more towards 1 gram per pound of goal body weight. But if we're getting at least 0.7, you're going to be in a really good spot, especially with hunger management. So just make sure you are getting some protein in each meal. Make sure you're getting enough protein in throughout the day. And if you need more tips on how to get more protein in, go to my most recent podcast on the protein playbook, and I give a whole insight on how to get more protein in and why it's so important, the benefits and all that stuff. Number 2 that I actually don't hear many people talk about, to be honest, at least personally. Maybe I've been hiding underneath a bridge. I think that's what the saying is. But fiber. Fiber can be just as impactful as protein because fiber also helps slow down digestion, meaning it's going to keep you full for a little bit longer. So if you notice you're having a good chunk of protein, you're getting that 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight or goal body weight per day, but you're still feeling like hunger's a little bit higher, have some more fiber. Check your fiber numbers. I believe men need to be around roughly 30 to 38 grams of fiber per day, and then women are a little bit more, around 21 to 25 grams of fiber per day. And there's so many more benefits to Just making sure you're getting enough fiber as well, as it helps, like I said, aid digestion, helps keep you full. It can help lower cholesterol, regulates blood sugar. But strictly speaking, from a hunger management standpoint, if you combine getting enough protein and getting enough fiber a day, I think those two alone, you are going to be in a very good spot. Foods that typically are high in fiber lead to my next point, tend to be volume foods. Now, this isn't all high fiber foods, but a lot of high fiber foods tend to be fruits and vegetables. And what I mean by high volume foods, I actually like to call them big bang for your buck foods, is because they are lower in calorie and you can have a higher amount of volume. So think about it like this. Think about like leafy greens, cucumbers, raspberries, certain fruits, certain vegetables, where you can have a lot of them, like a high volume of them, a large serving of them, and it's not going to be a huge dent in your calories. So I always use this as an example, even though I get like you're probably not going to do this, but just to give you that sense, that idea is, think of spinach, right? A cup of spinach is roughly 7 calories. So if you had 20 cups of spinach, that's 140 calories. 20 cups of spinach is 140 calories. Now, don't give me this whole, you cook it in oil, looks like, a tablespoon of spinach. But when you really take 20 cups of leafy spinach, that's 140 calories right there. And then you take 2 Oreos, that's also 140 calories there as well. So thinking about these high volume foods that are a better bang for your buck, calorie wise, and the amount you're getting serving wise, the volume you can have of them, they can help better manage your hunger just from filling up your stomach, adding volume to your stomach without putting a huge dent into your calories. So try to find those high volume foods you enjoy. I like the idea of a big ass salad every single day. Just go to your local grocery store, get one of those salad kits, throw the entire thing in a big old bowl, add some chicken to it. I personally love adding a little bit more Greek yogurt to it to give it a little bit more protein and make it a little bit creamier. So the taste is also a little bit better for me, is what I enjoy. That's just my personal opinion. But that big ass salad, that big bowl of vegetables, chicken, some Greek yogurt into it, it leaves me feeling full till dinner time. I've been doing this a lot lately for my lunches. So find the veggies, find the fruits you enjoy, load it up. And when you look at your plate too, when we're speaking high volume foods, so when we look at our plate, we want to make sure we have 20 to 40 grams of protein on it, right? When you also look at your plate, fill half of it with volume foods, fill half of it with fruit, half of it with vegetables. And no, fruit's not going to make you fat, because I know someone out here is hearing this and be like, oh, well, there's sugar in fruit. Yeah, because of this obesity epidemic that's going on. It's caused by so many of us eating way too many blueberries, way too many raspberries, way too many grapes, way too many apples. Like, that's the issue. We need to cut back on those things. That's really what's causing this problem. What a fucking joke that is. But getting off topic anyways. So have volume foods, right? Find those fruits, find those vegetables, even protein. Like, protein can be a volume food as well. And doing this can just help with you feeling full for longer, and feeling satisfied. All right, up next is to avoid drinking your calories. So here are the things with drinking your calories. They can, I guess, kind of be sneaky, is a way to put it, where they're not really filling you up and they're not really leaving you satisfied, but they're impacting your calorie target for the day. Those 100 calorie drink here, 200 calorie drink here, another 100 calorie drink here. All of a sudden, you're at, 1/4 of your calories for the day just from drinking your calories. And it's not leaving you full. It's not leaving you satisfied. It's actually not helping with hunger whatsoever. And maybe even sometimes it's actually impacting you to feel hungrier. So what I would recommend is try to get a majority of your calories through food. Because I'm not going to say don't drink 0 calories the entire day. Like, if you want some cream in your coffee, that's fine. Don't put the whole jug of cream into it, but put a splash or 2 into it. It's fine. Like, 40 calories is not a big deal. But just look at the big picture. Try to get a majority of your calories through food. So try to stick to water. Obviously, you should be drinking water most of the time, not only for like weight loss and fat loss purposes, but for your health. So water, sparkling water, black coffee, coffee with maybe a speck of cream, and even like diet drinks. Like, I'm a big Diet Coke. Give me some good old Diet Coke. I love me a Diet Coke. And it has 0 calories in it. Or maybe it's like a Powerade Zero or Gatorade Zero if you're looking for something to mix it up a little bit. And I know another person saying, oh, Kim, the chemicals are going to cause you to grow a third nipple and shrink your penis. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I can't even with you people. I'm not saying to drink gallons of Diet Coke, but if you want to have one once in a while, do it. You'll be okay. So just do your best to make sure you're eating your calories through food. Avoid drinking calories. It will just make it easier to manage your hunger. All right, we're going to shift gears. I hope when you guys are listening to this, there's hopefully no kids in the car or kids around you. If there are, I apologize for saying penis and swearing and all that stuff, but that's also kind of who I am. But, if that is becoming a problem, definitely let me know, because I obviously want to make sure you're hearing this content, hearing this information, and are still able to hear it even with the kiddos around. But anyways, up next, sleep. Sleep, eat. So when we are lacking sleep, our hunger hormones increase. And what I mean by that is if you are lacking sleep, your quality of sleep is down. You're maybe not prioritizing sleep. Maybe you're getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. By the way, before I get into this, yes, new parents, do the best with what you got. I understand you're in a different situation than me without kids or anyone without kids, or have a hard time controlling their sleep schedule. But for all of you who do have control over your sleep schedule, when you are not prioritizing sleep, you're lacking your quality of sleep, it's going to cause your hunger to increase. It's going to cause you to feel hungry and feel hungrier more often. So you have these two hormones, leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin's your hunger hormone. Leptin is your hormone that helps signal fullness. So your hunger hormone, when you lack sleep, will increase, meaning you're going to feel hungrier. And then your leptin decreases, meaning you're not going to feel as full as often. So really what's kind of happening is you're going to feel hungry, and you're going to feel hungrier more often. So this is why it can be so important, just from a hunger management standpoint, to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Because the other thing is, like, when you lack sleep, your decision making gets impacted as well. You become more flexible. You say screw it and go banana pants more often. Like, you kind of lose that capacity, that discipline to better manage your decisions. So really do your best to make sure you're getting that 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, trying to stick with a consistent nighttime routine, just so you can better manage hunger. So if you notice you're listening to this right now, you're like, I suck at sleeping, I'm not prioritizing, I'm scrolling on my phone till midnight, waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning, then this is going to be a big switch for you to make. So make sure you are prioritizing some sleep here. All right. And then last 2 points here. This next one is, I feel like I've said this for a bunch of them, but is an important one. It may be the most important one you hear on this podcast today. And this may be the biggest factor of you not being able to maintain the progress you do make, or even make progress. Maybe you just haven't been able to make any progress, or also maybe you've made progress but never been able to maintain it afterwards. And this has to do with stress management. Like, maybe your stress management sucks. Maybe there is zero stress management, because the factor could be that it's not actually a physical hunger. Maybe it's an emotional hunger, because you are using food to cope with that stress, with that feeling you're getting, that emotion you're getting. So life gets overwhelming. Maybe you're crazy busy at work. Maybe you're crazy busy with the kid's schedule. Maybe you're in a relationship that's a little bit toxic. Or you just got in a simple argument with a friend or a spouse or a partner or someone. So you're not hungry, but you're using food to cope with that situation, to cope with the emotions that come up for you in those situations. So stress eating isn't about the physical hunger. It's about trying to suppress emotions with food instead of dealing with the problem itself, instead of dealing with it head on. So when that stress, that frustration, that sadness, that loneliness, that boredom hit, food offers this temporary escape. You get this dopamine rush from the sugar, the salty snacks, and it feels good in the moment, because that's what the food does, right? It gives you that little spark of like, ooh, this is yummy, this is tasty, this is fun. But then what happens afterwards? There's still some frustrations, there's still some sadness, There's maybe even some guilt now, some shame, and you're feeling even further from your goals now. So when you stress eat, you use food as comfort instead of facing the emotions. You distract yourself with eating. And you weren't ever taught better coping strategies. It was always food that was there for you. It was always food was your reward or a source of comfort growing up. And now it's this ingrained habit. You're now just suppressing emotions instead of learning how to process them. It's really just numbing it with food. And now you just always associate food with relief because this eating feels like a break, a little bit of a pause from your problem. Again, a distraction, even though it doesn't actually solve the problem itself. So what I want you to do, some tips here to help break that cycle is one, we do need to find a new coping mechanism, a new coping strategy, whatever that may be. I love journaling in this instance where you feel this emotion, these thoughts coming in. You had a bad day at work, got in an argument, the kid's schedule is crazy, like whatever's going on in your head, just jot it down on a journal. Just whatever between the ears, whatever in that noggin, just blurt it out on a piece of paper, whatever it may be. Oh, my boss yelled at me at work today. I feel like I'm a failure in this job. I feel like I'm sucking, like all these things, whatever's coming up for you. I got in an argument with my spouse today. They don't love me. They don't respect me. Like whatever thoughts are coming up. And then also within that journal, get all those thoughts out, but then reflect on what the facts are. Oh, my boss yelled at me. I made a mistake on the project and I really hurt it. I feel like I'm a failure. I feel like I stink. But the facts are, I've also helped make this company so much money. I've also succeeded on so many projects, on so many things in this company. I'll do this if I had an individual like sign off with me in coaching, because the reality is some people will sign off and that's a bummer on my end. And I always take that personally, feeling like, oh, what could I have done better? Is there anything I could have done better? So I feel those emotions of, am I a bad coach? Am I actually made for this? Can I actually even help people? So I'll start to spiral a little bit just from one individual, might not reach their goal or might have signed off or quit for, by the way, I don't even know the reasons why. I may not know the truth of the reasons behind it, but then I go back and look at the facts. It's like, okay, Kevin, you've helped hundreds of individuals at this point. You have a handful of clients who are kicking ass right now. You just recently got a testimonial with someone saying this has changed their life. Now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I'm just trying to give you an example of how you take these thoughts that are on paper that aren't reality, they're just thoughts, but then you come around with the facts itself. So when it comes to managing these emotions, managing your stress, get the thoughts onto paper, but then remind yourself of what the facts are. So finding that new coping strategy. And when it comes to these moments where it pops up, like pause for a moment. Maybe you got the urge to grab some food. Stop in, check in with yourself. Are you actually hungry or are you stressed? Is there an emotion right now that's going on that you are actually trying to fill with food as the answer? Because if physical hunger isn't the feeling, food is not the answer. So work on separating real hunger from the emotion itself. Maybe the emotion is boredom. Maybe you're feeling anxious. Maybe you're feeling frustrated. Take that moment to pause. Maybe that's when you journal and then see how you feel. I always like the rule of the 20-minute rule. Like, am I hungry or am I not? So what you do is set a timer for 20 minutes and maybe you go journal. Some other coping strategies could be doing some deep breath work, some meditation. Maybe it's going on a walk. Maybe it's calling a friend you really trust and can talk to and vent to and be vulnerable with. And after that 20 minutes is up, check back in. How do you feel? Oh, like that hunger feeling actually kind of went away. So I'm okay. Cool. Then move on with life. The hunger feeling's still there. Cool. Have some food. Eat something. But what I'll recommend is whatever you do want, portion it out. Like don't eat it out of the bag. Don't eat it out of the box. Don't eat it out of the carton. Take a serving of it, put it on a plate, put it in a bowl, enjoy it, eat it, and then move on with life. So when it comes to better managing your hunger, how to stay full in a calorie deficit, and in particular when it comes to stress management, just know like food won't solve the stress. It might suppress it. It might distract you from it, but it's not going to fix the problem. It might even add a little bit more of a problem into the mix. And the more you rely on food for comfort, the harder it starts to get to break the cycle. Now, I'm not saying that to scare you because people come to me with years and years and decades of being stuck in this cycle. So there is always a way out. There is always a solution, but you just got to start practicing facing the stress, facing the emotion, facing the problem, have the hard conversations with people. so you are allowed to handle them and continue moving forward. And my last point here is try your best to have a consistent meal schedule, meal timing. I feel like this is funny getting into like a deep stress talk, a more serious situational talk there about stress management. And then they're like, oh, by the way, make sure you manage your meals. Make sure you have good meal time in here. But no, reality, last tip here is try to have a consistent meal schedule. So kind of like your circadian rhythm, which if you don't know what your circadian rhythm is, it's basically if you go to bed at the same night every single night and you wake up at the same time every single morning, you have this internal clock in your body that will just naturally help you unwind at the same time each night and help you naturally wake up at the same time each morning. So typically for me, I'm in bed probably around 9 o'clock and I can go to sleep like that within minutes of laying down in my bed. And I always wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I use an alarm during the week, but it's funny because on the weekends, I'm still itching to go to bed at 9 o'clock because I can feel my body unwinding. I'm getting tired. But no matter what, I'll always wake up roughly around 5 o'clock. So even though I want to like really sleep in the morning, I'm treating myself to sleep in later on and sleep in as late as I can. I'm typically up between 5 and 6 every single morning. So that's your circadian rhythm. Now, when you do this from a meal schedule, meal timing standpoint, your body can sort of get adapted and you can get hungry at the same times each day. So if you eat breakfast around 8 to 9 and then lunch around 12 to 1, and then dinner around 5 to 6, and you do that on a consistent basis, you can better manage your hunger knowing when you most likely are going to get hungry. This is a big reason why. Have you ever had Thanksgiving dinner and maybe it's around like 1 or 2 and you fill up, like you are stuffed to the brim, the belt's loose, the button's undone, you're a waste of space on the couch pretty much at that point, like you are absolutely stuffed. But then like 5 or 6 comes by and you're like, I still feel kind of full, but I also am getting kind of hungry. Like I just ate enough to feed a village. Now, why am I getting hungry? What's wrong with me? No, it's because your body's used to eating at 5 or 6 o'clock every single night. So it's just that schedule that's coming back. The body schedule is coming back into play. So when you eat at consistent times each day, you can start to create this schedule, this sort of system within yourself where you can better predict when you're going to get hungry. You know you're going to get hungry between 8 and 9, and then again at 12 and 1, and then again at 5 and 6. I'm not saying there won't be like an itch of hunger in between those times, but enough to where it's like, all right, let me just have a shake here. Let me have an apple here to hold me over. And you're fine, but you're not feeling ravenous. You're not feeling like you're that bear coming out of hibernation ready to eat everything that crosses its path. It's just better managed. And I think that's the key word here is we're just trying to better manage everything for yourself so things feel easier. So you're not so overwhelmed with all this emotion, all these feelings that's such a distraction to you. You can still keep your focus on the day. So I hope this helped. I hope this was able to provide you some good insight on things you can apply to better manage your hunger, especially if you feel like hunger's been a big struggle of yours in this whole fat loss journey of yours. But whether it's getting more protein, eating more high volume foods, increasing the fiber intake, avoiding drinking your calories, better managing your sleep, better managing your stress, or just starting to get a little bit more on a schedule with your meal timing, your meal schedule, start to apply one or some of these tips and see how it goes. Like apply it to your journey right now, apply it tomorrow and see how you feel day to day. See if you're feeling better with hunger management day to day, because these are going to be the big things that make a big difference. And if you have listened thus far, I appreciate you. If you could do me a huge favor, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, maybe even leave a written review, letting everyone know how freaking awesome this is. I've gotten a bunch of individuals to share this on their social media. Share this with a friend. Share this on your social media. Make sure you tag me in it as well, because that's been pretty darn cool to see, just for selfish reasons. But I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you, or chatting in your ear, chatting in your car next week, wherever you are listening to this. If you need anything, do not hesitate to reach out. I appreciate you. I believe in you. Go eat the damn donut, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.